The crash of bowling pins echoed through the alley, a rhythm of laughter, clinking glasses and neon lights reflecting off polished lanes. Emma stood near the edge, holding a heavy green ball in her hands, pretending to focus. Her coworkers cheered and joked somewhere behind her, but she barely heard them. After weeks of endless deadlines, this night out was supposed to be fun. Instead, it felt loud, chaotic, and a little lonely. She adjusted her grip, took a breath, and froze. Across the room, someone laughed. Not just anyone, a warm, soft laugh that somehow cut through the music and noise like a familiar melody. Emma turned her head and saw her. Inna. She was standing with another group, holding a red bowling ball, her auburn dress glowing under the golden light. Her dark hair brushed her shoulders as she laughed again, head tilted slightly back. There was something magnetic about her, not beauty in the usual sense but presence. Life seemed to gather around her, to listen when she spoke. For a long moment, Emma forgot to breathe. When their eyes met, Inna smiled, a quiet, knowing smile, before looking away. Emma felt her pulse quicken. It was ridiculous. She didn't even know her. But something had already shifted inside her, something small and certain. Later, fate, or maybe luck, intervened. Their two groups merged to form one big team. And just like that, Emma found herself standing beside Inna, close enough to catch the faint scent of vanilla and cedar from her perfume. "Your turn," Inna said, handing her the green ball with a teasing grin. "Thanks," Emma replied, but her voice came out softer than she intended. "Don't worry," Inna said. "I'm not keeping score. I just like watching people throw, with confidence." Emma smirked. "Then you might want to look away." They both laughed, and just like that, something melted. The awkwardness disappeared. Their game became a conversation of glances, gestures, and jokes that hid something deeper neither dared to name. By the third round, Emma's hand brushed against Inna's when she reached for her drink. Neither pulled away. When Emma missed a strike, Inna came closer, touched her shoulder gently, and said, "You're thinking too much. Just feel it." Those words, "just feel it," stayed with her. Emma inhaled deeply, focused, and rolled the ball. All 10 pins fell. She turned, laughing, and Inna threw her arms around her. It was a quick hug, but in that heartbeat, something electric passed between them. When the others started leaving, they stayed behind. The lights dimmed, lanes glowing softly like ribbons of gold. Inna tilted her head. "Coffee. Only if you promise not to disappear after one cup," Emma replied. Inna smiled. "I don't run. Not unless someone scares me." At the little cafe nearby, they talked for hours. About everything and nothing. Favorite songs, fears, heartbreaks, and dreams. Emma found herself watching the way Inna's fingers wrapped around her mug, how her eyes sparkled when she got excited. There was something so open about her, so genuine. Outside, the city was quiet when they finally stepped into the cool night air. The first light of dawn softened the edges of the world. Inna stopped in the middle of the empty street and said quietly, "I haven't felt this alive in a long time." Emma hesitated, searching her eyes. Then she took a step closer, close enough to feel her breath. Their first kiss wasn't planned, it just happened. Gentle, trembling, full of unspoken things. And when Inna kissed her back, it wasn't just a spark, it was recognition. Like two puzzle pieces that had been waiting too long to fit. That night changed everything. Days turned into weeks. Messages became daily calls. Walks became weekends. It wasn't perfect, it was real. Inna's family didn't understand. Emma's friends made quiet jokes. There were moments of doubt, of fear. But between them, there was always something stronger. "You make me brave," Inna whispered once, lying beside her. "Even when I don't want to be." Emma brushed a strand of hair from her face. "You don't have to be brave all the time. I'll take turns with you." They built a small world together, full of laughter, plants, coffee cups left half-finished, and playlists that played too often. There were arguments too, about little things, about big things, but love always found its way back. One evening, Inna came home in tears after a fight with her parents. Emma didn't say a word. She just wrapped her arms around her until the shaking stopped. Later, Inna whispered, "They said I'm making a mistake." Emma kissed her forehead. "Then let's make it beautifully." It wasn't easy, but it was worth everything. Months later, they moved in together, a small apartment with crooked shelves and sunlight that flooded the living room. They hung fairy lights, cooked badly, and danced barefoot to old songs. Inna filled the space with her laughter. Emma filled it with quiet care. And every now and then, they'd return to that bowling alley. They'd take the same green and red balls, laughing like children. "You know," Inna said one night, "I miss that shot on purpose. Just to have a reason to talk to you longer." Emma smiled. "Then that's the best miss in history." Years passed, and their love only deepened. Emma learned how to let people in again. Inna learned that love doesn't have to hide. They built a home, not out of walls, but of trust. One rainy evening, they found themselves back at the bowling alley, just the two of them. The place was almost empty, the sound of falling pins echoing softly. Inna stood beside her, holding the same red ball. "Remember our first kiss?" she asked. Emma smiled. "Like it was yesterday." Inna leaned in. "It still feels like the best strike I ever made." They laughed, then kissed, slow and certain, surrounded by the soft hum of lights and the echo of memories. When they pulled away, Emma took Inna's hand. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we hadn't met that night?" Inna smiled. "I don't have to. We were always going to find each other. Maybe later, maybe somewhere else, but it would have happened." That night, they didn't bowl much. They just sat together on the wooden bench, heads resting against each other, watching the lights shimmer across the lanes. "Everything started right here," Emma whispered. "And it still does," Inna said. "Every time I look at you." Later that year, on a quiet morning, Emma woke to find a note on the pillow beside her. It said, "Meet me where it all began." She smiled, already knowing. When she arrived, Inna was standing at their lane, dressed in that same rust-red color, this time, holding something small in her hand. A simple silver ring. "I don't believe in luck," Inna said softly, "but I believe in that missed throw." Emma's eyes filled with tears. She took her hand, voice trembling. "Then let's never stop playing." Inna laughed through tears. "Deal." They didn't need a big proposal or a crowd. Just the sound of pins falling, the soft hum of lights, and two hearts that had already said yes long before words ever did. Now, every year, they come back to that same lane, the same laughter, the same spark. Sometimes they bowl, sometimes they just sit and talk. And every time, Emma looks at Inna and thinks how love found her when she wasn't even looking. When people ask Emma when she knew, she always smiles and says, "It was the moment I picked up a green bowling ball and heard someone laugh across the room." And that laugh became the sound of home.